Welcome to our election focus. With so many races and so many candidates jockeying for position in the upcoming primary, we weren't able to get the in-depth conversation that we had during the Annapolis city election. So this time, we're shaking it up a little bit. We identified key challenged races and invited all of the candidates to pitch us. In each 10-minute recording, we present a single question to the candidate. I am a new voter. Why should I vote for you? And after that, the candidate has up to 10 minutes to pitch themselves, and if they run out of time, we hang up on them. It's very simple and mildly therapeutic. Joining us now is Aron, who is a Democrat running for the Maryland House of Delegates in Legislative District 30A. So why would I want to vote for you?
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate that. I've been a public servant for my entire life. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and at age 17, I enlisted in the Marine Corps and was enlisted for 4 years. I tried to sign up in time for the Gulf War because I watched Saddam Hussein invade Kuwait my senior summer in high school and signed up in high school. But that was long over by the time I hit basic training. And then when I did 2 deployments as an enlisted Marine, I actually snuck in the back door of the Naval Academy with a C- average in high school. So I spent 4 years here at the Naval Academy and got to know Annapolis a little there, including an exchange semester up to West Point. And then when I graduated from the Naval Academy, I did another 17 years as a Marine infantry officer, including 8 more deployments. So a total of 10 deployments in 7 years of my life overseas. But I also came back here and I taught at the Naval Academy for 2 years as well in the political science department. I was the associate chair and I taught U.S. government for a little while, and I also taught a class on small wars. And then when I retired from the Naval Academy, I went off to the Harvard Kennedy School and got a master in public administration, which I finished last year. I came back, and I think it's pretty well known that I helped Senator John Astle run for mayor of the city of Annapolis because he had asked me to be his city manager if he'd won a mayor's race. And that was long before I ever heard of a guy named Gavin Buckley when I agreed to do that. And when John lost that mayor's race, I was his policy director and his scheduler for about 5 or 6 months. We sat down and I helped him endorse Gavin Buckley. And I believe that Gavin Buckley won on a mandate for social, racial, and economic change in this city. And I think he's going to do everything he can to better the lives of a lot of other people in this city. So it was easy to help John endorse him. And then a few weeks later, after some conversations with a lot of people, I agreed to take on the challenge of trying to flip a red seat to blue for the first time in 8 years that Republican Herb McMillan is sitting in. And I was lucky enough to have Gavin Buckley co-host my kickoff event on February 9th. And I have been out knocking doors across this city. I think I've knocked almost 5,000 doors here in the last 4 months or so. And I think that I've demonstrated over time here that I'm willing to do the work and spend the time getting to know every voter in the city that is willing to talk to me. And I've run what I think has been an inspired campaign focused on every aspect of the city's community. And it started really in the affordable housing communities for me. I hired a young man named Dewan Gay that a whole lot of people know because he ran a city council race at age 20 and lost by probably about 100 votes to Shanika Henson in Ward 7 in the primary last year, and made a name for himself handing out air conditioners with Gavin Buckley. And I think really kind of shamed the housing authority into putting some more air conditioning into our affordable housing. And it was that kind of energy and determination that I wanted involved in this campaign. And Dewan and I spent a lot of time in the affordable housing communities, in the Boys and Girls Clubs of the city, and talking to a lot of the clergy as well, and trying to understand what the needs are of this community. The campaign has grown to a core team of about 10 or 12 people that have helped me put on events like planting trees in community gardens in affordable housing. We've had an event with about 50 volunteers doing that. We've had a couple of pop-up art exhibits on Main Street where we've showcased local artists through the kind donation of a guy like John Hollander, who was willing to give us the old SunTrust Bank building to do that on St. Patty's Day and the Annapolis Boat Show weekend as well. And we held a town hall on race about a week and a half ago at the Wiley H. Bates Legacy Center with a bunch of local community leaders and a really mixed audience to be able to talk about what the issues are in race in our community as well. So I feel very proud of a lot of the establishment support that I've had as I've kind of entered this political game for the first time. I'm actually more proud of the support that I have from outside the establishment across the city as well. And we've seen the return. If you see a yard sign in the city, it's because it's a door that I've personally knocked. All right, I think maybe my team has knocked about 20 doors total out of the 5,000 or so out there. So why wouldn't I be the best candidate? One of two of the best candidates, since you do get two votes in this race. One, I think I've proven that I'm willing to do the work. Two, I think I'm a fresh face, and I'm coming from outside the establishment with a new perspective as well. Though I'm not born here. Yeah, gotcha. No, I'm not born here. I did come here as a midshipman, and I came back here and I taught, and I fell in love with Annapolis, really as a professor more so than as a midshipman. I started racing with the Navy offshore team as a volunteer assistant coach, and I still race with them today as a civilian now as well, and bought my own boat, and I'm active in racing here in the community. But what it comes down to is I think that I have the needs of the community in my head and my heart, and I think I understand what is going on with the community through a whole lot of preparation. One, to trying thinking I was going to be a city manager, but in the end, trying to understand what the role of government here is in Annapolis at both the local and the state level, and maybe the federal level as well, having had some interaction with those guys also. I think I've built a very, very broad base of support within marginalized communities, within the small business community, within the arts community, and I think I'm on the right issues. I want to protect the environment for our kids and their grandkids. I think that we should have a no discharge zone in the bay, that we should be careful how many trees we're cutting down. We should be looking at what's running off into our bay as well. I'm very focused on education as a great equalizer, and I think we have an education problem in this city. I think that our schools are segregated still as a carryover from the civil rights movement, but also because of how we district them. And I'm very, very wary of what we're doing with money with education. We aren't paying our teachers enough. I agree with the Kerwin Commission's findings that we need to pay our teachers more. And I'm very cautious about things like public charter schools, which I think are diverting money away from the schools that need it the most. And it's a slippery slope. And the ones that we have aren't bad. They are pretty good because they're heavily regulated. And I've had some conversations with one of my opponent through some of her surrogates and in the news media about what her position actually is on that. And it's unfortunate that it's been painted as negative, and we're trying to have a policy discussion. But in the end, what it comes down to is I think when you privatize public schools, I think that the losers are the kids, because it becomes about for profit. I'm also very focused on fixing the plight of marginalized communities in the city by addressing our affordable housing issues, because they've been focused on buildings instead of people for entirely too long as well. And I marched for my life about 3 months ago with a bunch of high school kids and said, as a combat decorated Marine, I don't want to see an assault weapon on the street. I'm also a graduate professor at Georgetown University, and I don't want you to arm me in the classroom either. So I encourage you all to look at the candidates in front of you and pick the two candidates that you think are going to best represent you in the city of Annapolis moving forward. And I hope to be one of them. Again, my name is Aron. I'm running for delegate as a Democrat in the city of Annapolis, and I'll be honored to have your vote. Thank you very much.
For more information on Aron, please visit his website, axefordelegate.com, and that's AXEFORDELEGATE.com.